Reducing balance loans, an introduction, and looking at amortisation tables. I have a problem with that word. All right, a reducing balance loan is a loan like a mortgage. And what I mean by that is it's paid off regularly over the length of the time of the loan. So paid in regular repayments, and these are often monthly, quarterly, fortnightly, that sort of thing. Mine's monthly. So far when we've looked at compound interest loans, we've looked at, look, you borrow $10,000 for a year, and then at the end you pay it back with all the interest. And that's quite unusual. Mostly what happens is you borrow $10,000 and you pay it off over the time, and by the end you don't owe very much at all, and you just pay off the last little bit. So it's called reducing balance because the balance of the loan, the amount that's left to be paid back, is reducing over time. And there's a few ways that we can look at that. So each repayment period, and we leave our repayment and compounding periods as the same, so if I'm making payments monthly, it's compounding monthly and stuff like that. We will do interest. So we'll add on the interest that's been charged in that repayment period. And interest paid is the rate per payment period multiplied by the as yet unpaid balance. And that's the rate as a decimal. We look at what the interest is, and then we look at how much we've reduced the principal, because you're paying off interest, and everything extra that you pay above the interest is paying down the principal. It's reducing that balance. And the principal reduction is the value of the repayment minus the interest that was paid. So we've worked out the interest paid, and now everything we pay, take away the interest, is coming off the principal that we owe. And we work out then the balance that's still owing. And that is the previous balance owing minus the reduction in principal. And we'll work through a table to show what's happening at each repayment period. Now, other calculation, it'll look like this, a table per payment period. Other calculations we might want, the cost of repaying the loan can be calculated two different ways. You can add the principal and all the interest that was paid, or you can just add up the total of the repayments, so the sum of the repayments, because that's the easiest way. Oops. And the total interest paid is the total cost minus the original principal. So the cost of repaying the loan is all the repayments added up, and that's the principal and the interest. So if we just want to know the total interest paid, I mean, you could total the interest paid column, or you could do the cost of repaying loan minus the principal. Sorry about the noise outside. So for example, a business borrows $10,000 at 8% per annum to be repaid in 4 quarterly payments of $2,626.20. Now, just checking my notes page. Have I done anything All right, we start with repayment number 0. With a 0 repayment, no interest paid, no principal reduction, and the balance of the loan is the principal, which is $10,000. So this is the very start of the loan before any repayments have happened. Then we'll have repayment 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a row that gives us an option for totals. So in each repayment, we're going to look at what is happening in that payment period. Now first, we will have to get our interest rate per quarter, because this is an interest rate per annum. So our interest rate is 8 divided by 4, which is 2% per quarter. And I'm just popping that in to remind ourselves there. We'd put our proper working somewhere. So, repayment number 1, the interest that is getting charged on $10,000 will be our interest rate, 2%, as a decimal, divided by 100, times by the balance of the loan, which at the moment is $10,000. So $200 is the interest that has been charged in the first quarter for having this loan. Now, the first repayment, we go back to here, is $2,626.20. The principal reduction. So basically, I did owe this. Briefly add this on. I now owe $10,200. Then take this off. And it's quite easy just to go with, I did owe $10,000 plus 200. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. 10,000 plus 200 minus the repayment, 26.20. And I now owe $7,573. But we've skipped an important step here, which is how much did I bring my principal down by? And it's the whole repayment minus the interest paid. So principal reduction, repayment minus interest paid. Let's get some space there. 2626.20 minus $200. So I brought the principal down by $2,426.20. Then that's finished. That's after one repayment. I now owe this much money. Next repayment period, I need to recalculate the interest based on 2% of this new balance, which, if I am feeling very clever, I already had here because I should have done these two in a different order. 7573.80 times 2 divided by 100. Remember, that's 2% as a decimal. My interest being charged now is much less because I owe much less money. Round to 2 decimal places, so this will be 48. So because I now owe $50 less interest, I'll be paying off $50 more in principal. I'm still making the same repayment, 2626.20, 2,626, etc. So then, the principal reduction, now, you've got that sitting in there. If you get really clever, you can manipulate it a bit so you can do it all at once, but let's just start by get the principal reduction, which is repayment minus interest. So my principal, as predicted, has been reduced by an extra $50 this time. And then, of course, we take this off off the previous balance to find out the new balance of the loan. And the new balance is $5,099.08. So every step of the way, we're finding the interest charged on this balance, making a repayment, working out how much we've reduced the principal, and finding the new balance. So again, we'll have a payment of this much. 2% of this is $101.98. Subtract these two. And take away from the previous balance the principal reduction, now the last payment, there's usually a little bit of fudging to do. So we check the interest amount. We've got 2574.86, and you'll see I currently owe less than a full repayment, but I have to add the interest on still. So times 2 divided by 100 to get 2%. So it's going to be an extra $51 worth of interest, rounding to 2 decimal places there. So we take our balance, we add on the interest, so I had the interest, so I'm doing plus the balance. So all up, I owe $2,626.36. Now normally a repayment would be 20 cents, so an extra 16 cents that I've got to pay. Basically, some tables leave this payment as the same amount and leave an extra 16 cents sitting in the balance, which you would still have to pay off. Some tables just make it the last payment is a little bit different. Work out what the principal reduction was in that time. Here's a clue, it should be exactly this, because I've got to go down to a balance of 0, so I've reduced my principal that much. But if we needed to, we can do that. Minus $51.50. Yes, indeed, I got a principal reduction of the same amount as my principal, 2574.86, and I now owe $0. So that is a table way of working out a compound interest reducing balance loan. It's a lot easier to do in Excel because you can set up little formulas to run all the way down and you don't have to keep on working this out by hand. But we do need to understand how it works. Most of the ones that we'll give you, they'll have worked out a lot of this for you and you'll just have to fill in some gaps. Just a note at the end here. Notice what's happening to the amount of interest that needs to be paid. It's dropping because the principal is lower. So 2% of 2,500 is a lot less than 2% of 10,000. That means we're paying off much more of the principal with each repayment. So when you're paying off a reducing balance loan, the amount over time, it tends to pay off slowly and then pay off really fast.